Hey, so excited to be here with you today, here with one of our stellar, top-notch team members with Gage Woolbright. Gage, thank you for coming out today.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. I always enjoy doing these videos.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Appreciate the value you're adding to this team, your hard work ethic. Brother, you've been getting it this year. So you and I have been now working together about 10, 11 months, and you started in January. So we're going to kind of talk a little bit more today about the book that we're going through, Make Today Count. But also I want to talk about something that I know, you and I kind of do an impromptu here in a lot of ways.
For sure.
And you and I can do that. We know each other well enough to be able to. You can't always do that with folks. But with you being with us starting in January till today's date, 10/29, Gage, how many properties have you closed on?
I've closed on 27.
27 properties. Okay, guys, so this hasn't been like an extremely, you may or may not know this, but this has been one of the tougher years.
Feels like it.
Yeah.
From what I'm hearing.
Anytime you start anything and you're doing it for like really the first time, you've got to have a high level of commitment and you've got to really go all in. But if you hadn't done that in a year like this year, man, you just don't make it. And so
For sure.
You and I have talked about the statistics in the past. 74% last year of all real estate agents helped 2 people or less close a property. Engage in his first nearly end of 10 months now has helped over 28 and
Yeah, I'm at 27 and I have 2 pending.
And 2 pending.
Two pending right now.
So we see that, man, he's really putting forth the effort that it takes to be a champion. And I love that, man. I love that your career's taken off for you. I love that you're going to be great at what you do. I believe whatever you put your heart to and your mind to, you're going to do really well at.
I appreciate that.
And I'm so glad you brought that value to us. One thing I also really respect about you, Gage, is that you're not just trying to grow your finances. I mean, man, it's like Ziglar said, right? Like money ain't everything, but it's right up there with the, you got to have, like oxygen,
Right
I mean,
there
you
by
got to have it to
oxygen.
live, right?
Yeah.
So finances is super important. We can't squint at that. But on top of that, growing our character, growing our person mentally. One thing I love about you is almost every week when we go over our commitments as a team, you have on there, read your Bible.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and that it actually kind of correlates to this chapter and what we'll go and kind of talk towards at the end. As much as creative thinking and just normal thinking you need to do, it's no different than reading your Bible. Getting your one-on-one time with God more than once a week. I try to read mine 5 to 7 days, my Bible 5 to 7 days,
great,
and I pray every morning, every afternoon. So getting that one-on-one time with God is very important, and putting that at the forefront of my life because He's the reason why I've closed 27.
Amen. So that's right. And life's going to drive us to our knees sooner or later. It's wonderful when we can volunteer to be there versus being kind of forced in there.
That's for sure.
Yes.
And I've been dealing with the ebbs and flows, as you know, like you said, I can feel it's been a crazy year. Speaking with listing agents, working with them, I know there's been a lot of ups and downs this year. President changing, we got the government shutdown.
Yep.
Still everything, feeling feelings from COVID and everyone moving in and out of state, the interest rate fluctuating. Thank God it's starting to come down. There's been a lot, but it's been fun, and I think it was a good year to learn, honestly. Now I'm ready to apply it to an even stronger market and what's to come in the future. So
yeah, that's great, man. Yeah, average good healthy year, you're going to see between 5.5 and 6.5 million residential sales in the USA. Right now this year, we'll be lucky if we creep over 4 million. So it is a struggle, but for a young man that isn't scared to struggle and willing to embrace the work, this is when you're going to get ahead, especially when 74% either don't have the drive or the skill, and you've determined to have both. We're reading through a book, Make Today Count, and as we've gone through this book, I really like that question. What are we doing today to make today count?
Right.
And we should look at that like in all areas of our life, not just our finances. John talks about the importance of good thinking and shaping our outcomes. What good thinking and what does good thinking look like to you personally and professionally?
Yeah, so reading through that chapter and kind of tearing it apart, not everyone does think good, and not everyone thinks about their thinking. It was kind of a funny subject to get to take in. It's like you go to school, you graduate, and then you might learn another job, but you don't think about your brain and how it processes things or how you retain information. For me, what the chapter really taught me, is like slowing down and being intentional about what you think about and waking up every morning. And it's similar to our goal setting and our daily task we talk about, But taking the actual time just to set aside time and think about what's worked and what hasn't worked and how to move forward, it's been very, I guess, progressive would be the word, because it shows you your ups and downs. So.
Yeah, Maxwell kind of talks about that, taking a little space in your week to take some time to think and plan. Do you do that? Is that something that you try to do? And if so, like when and where?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I really haven't, as far as before reading this chapter, to be honest with you, which what's the point of reading something if you don't apply it,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So after reading this chapter, though, I've set aside Fridays, 15 to 25 minutes. I'm just going to reflect, because we have a planner. I fill out what I do every day, practically every hour of every day, and I have my top points on there. And on Fridays, I'm going to take time to go back and reflect on what worked, what didn't work, and what I can do better or maybe change to increase lead flow, increase responses, things like that, kind of, not judging myself, but
Taking inventory.
yeah, taking inventory, figuring out what's the best game plan of action and going to work.
That's great, man. That's great. Yeah, by taking a little time to actually think. John Maxwell wrote a book once. It was called Thinking for a Change. And he tells this story in there, and it's always stuck in my mind, and I probably read this 10 years ago. He tells the story about two new guys that get a job, and they're being walked through this big company, this big factory setting. And they're taking them and they're showing them where they do these things and where this is being done. And finally, they walk by a little, probably just a 10 by 20 glass, just completely clear, a desk in there and a computer. And they look at the guy like, what is that? Is that like the transition room? They're just waiting to go from point A to point B? And he said, no, that's her office. And they're like, well, she's just in there all by herself and a computer at the desk. That's it. Like, what does she make, a year?
Right.
And or what's her job? That's what they asked. What's her job? And he said, well, she gets paid to think. Oh, they pay her to think? Really? Oh, what's that pay? And these guys are kind of being humorous. And he said $200,000 a year. $200,000 a year? Well, I want her job.
Yeah.
And you know what he said to her, Gage? What the guy said to him then? He said, next time you come up with an idea that makes the company $2 million in 1 year, consecutively, now these things are in play, every year they're bringing in more and more, then you can have that job.
Yeah.
Right?
So, it's not easy to think like that,
And a lot of people thinking, they just don't value thinking. They don't put a true value on taking time to reflect and taking time to think.
Well, and something else he talks about in the chapter that I think is really big is I do think as humans it's natural for us to have big ideals or a really good idea. You're out in public, you see a good invention, or you're watching Shark Tank, and you think of something cool, and then what you do is you wake up the next morning and you go, what was that? And you forgot it. So what he also talks about is writing it down. Carry a little sticky pad with you no matter where you're at. If you have a good ideal, write it down, but don't just write it down. Start looking into it. Take the next step of action, because you can write down ideals all day, but until you actually go out and after one, you never know which one God sent your way that might be the next big thing.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. To have a place to store it, write it down, keep it. All right, brother. So in real estate, quick decisions are often necessary. How do you balance taking action with making sure your thinking process stays intentional and thorough?
No, I mean, that's a really good question. I think the biggest thing that's helped me, obviously, is having our team atmosphere of what we do. It would be preparation, first off, and sharpening my skills. When things do get slow or there might be a slower month, we love to do role plays here. Practice our phone calls, practice our contracts, practice objection handling. I mean, that's a big one. So there's times I want to answer things on the spot, but sometimes you have to learn it's okay to say, hey, you know what, let me get back to you on that. I'm going to do some research. And even though you may have had an answer right there, front and center, it might be better for you to take your emotions out of it, go think on it, also look at what other options you may have. So I think that's really helped, and really I would just point to preparation, honestly.
That reminds me of a story Zig Ziglar used to have. Obviously, he got to a high level in life, and people were paying him not $10,000, but $150,000, $100,000 to come and speak at engagements. And people would ask him if he could do something, and he learned to start saying, if you need an answer today, it's no. If you can wait a day, I'll think about it. But yeah, being able to put a little space between you and making decisions is important. I like that. I didn't, honestly, with that question being asked, I didn't anticipate that answer.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, there are sometimes, depending on your client and how they feel and what their disc style is, maybe they do want an answer quick. And the best way I can say to handle that is with experience. And I feel like I've got a lot over this past year, and I've dealt with some crazy situations, as we all know. That's just the real estate world. But that does allow me to be able to answer quickly if need be and handle a situation and keep my clients under control, not freaking out. But I've noticed more often than not that if you say, hey, take the afternoon, we'll talk about it tomorrow morning, it's a brand new conversation, right? Instead of building it. So.
Yesterday really did end last night.
Right. Right.
And sometimes people get their emotions and things so much that over a little home inspection that could be a minor thing, they may want to rip the whole deal up.
Yep.
And sometimes you got to say, hey, man, just why don't you sleep on it? Let's talk about this in the morning.
1,000%.
And now they've got a little rest. They can come back in and feel refreshed. So, all right, one more question for you, brother.
Okay.
If someone wanted to improve their thinking habits after reading this chapter, what one practical step you'd recommend they start with?
Yeah, so this is the part that I think kind of reflects on what I was talking about earlier with the Bible and studying and talking to God, right? So if you do want to increase your thinking and how you think, I would recommend 10 to 15 minutes a day. Everyone's going to have their own setting, and he talks about that in the chapter, whether yours is sitting at a desk with a blue ink pen or sitting somewhere where the wind is blowing or you're outside in a hammock, right, by the trees doing what you like. But for me, it's honestly sitting in a dark room. I like to go somewhere that's dark and quiet, and it's just me by myself. I think about what I've done that week. I reflect on everything, and I just write down. Honestly, my main tip would probably be just write down what comes to mind. Don't second guess it. Don't go back and say, well, that's dumb or that's not good. Write it down. And then when you go back and look at that paper after a while, you'll start realizing a couple of those things are probably coming to fruition. A couple of those are ideals or things that you forgot about that you can now put into action and take place. But really, the top three, I'd say getting a distraction-free zone, writing everything down that comes to mind, and then don't judge yourself. Don't hold yourself too hard, right? It's not a difficult task. We think every day. All this is taking time to actually do it away from your phone and any other distractions and other people in your life.
Yeah. I heard it was David Goggins. He was talking about like what's one of those things that really get people ahead. He was being asked, was it like motivation? Was it discipline? And he said, really, it ain't none of that stuff, man. He said, because none of that stuff's real important if you can't get your mind still, if you can't hear your own self-thinking, if you don't have time to really get the clutter out, the stuff that maybe is unimportant out so that you can really filter and discipline. Because anybody can be disciplined. You can be disciplined on the wrong things. You can be motivated to run and do the wrong thing. But to get some still time and to really declutter our minds, because we got so much coming at us every day.
Oh, yeah.
So fast.
We consume more information in this world than anybody ever has. I mean, that's just part of it with the news, the media, everything on our phones being at our fingertips, how many phone calls we make, how many different people we talk to. It's a constant intake of information. So, got to have somewhere to put it.
Well, brother, love your heart. Love what you shared with us today, Gage. It's valuable. Thank you for taking time to share this with us. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.